Hello folks, hope you're all doing well. We are up at the plot today as I walk backwards with the absolute possibility of tripping over some of the stuff that I've got down here. And I'm planning on getting some of the shallots, the garlic and the onions planted out in the beds I've got. So this is the final part of this video that I'm doing in the series. So I'll put it in the playlist. I'll put a little link up there to the playlist so you can see the other ones that I've done where we've got the beds prepped and stuff like that. So let's just show you them down here. You'll have to ignore the big pallet over here because that's what I'm going to attach the camera to when I'm filming. But let's just have a quick look at what we've got. So this was a pack that we got from DT Brown, our favourite seed supplier there. And it was a mixed pack of shallots, onions and garlic. And I would love to tell you the varieties, but these little sticks have a terrible habit of getting wet and then things rub off it. I've tried writing in Sharpie on them, I've tried writing in pencil, all sorts of stuff, and it still comes off. So I think I need to use something different other than the sticks. But the shallots are looking absolutely brilliant. Every single one of them has had sort of good germination, and you can see them there. We've had some good frosts and they'll split and they'll be grand. And we move over here. Let's just move this out. Well, let's have a look at this. Look, I was just at the garden centre before, right? And I can't help myself. I don't need it, but I had to buy something because I was at the garden centre when I was going round. So I thought, oh look, we'll have some of that and I'll chuck it on with the onions and whatnot. But it doesn't matter because we've got the bloodfish and bone in the bed over there. I'll show you in a minute. We've got the chicken manure pellets on it already. But it was there and I bought it, so I'm going to use it. But we've got the onions here. Now in this tray here, there's 60 onions. And again, we've had absolutely brilliant germination from them. I can just see 1, 2, I don't know, maybe 3 out of 60 in there, and another 10 in here, and they've all germinated in there. Even that one there's got a little green stalk coming out the top of it. So out of 70 onion sets, we've maybe only got 3 or 4 that haven't germinated. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think 4 out of the whole lot. So that's pretty good going. The garlic's going really, really slowly, but you can see it's starting to push itself up out of the trays there now. Some of them's got little green stalks on the top, but I just want to get it planted out. And the way I'm going to do it, I've mentioned before that I'm going to sort of utilise this area here over the winter, and I've got the 3 raised beds you can see down the bottom there. I'm going to use them as well. But for the garlic, because it's not quite sprouted up properly yet, the blooming pigeons that like to live in these trees over here like to come and eat things that sprout up like this. So when they've got the little sprouts on them, the pigeons and the birds and whatnot think that they look like worms and come over and they'll pick them all out. They won't eat them, but I'll just have to come along and put them all back in, which quite frankly I don't want to do. So the garlic is going to go in one of the beds with the covers on it, and the onions and the shallots that are much further on, that aren't any interest to the birds whatsoever, they'll go in the uncovered beds further down there. Right, anyway, I'll get the camera set up over here and we'll get cracking on with some of the stuff that we're doing here. Back with you in just a jiffy. Right, I'm back almost, and I'm all set up. Now, this is a no dig bed, but I've just had to give the top surface here, about the top centimetre, a little bit of a tickle with the old cultivator there, because it was all frozen. It's obviously been really, really cold overnight and the ground was absolutely solid, so I've just had to break it up a little bit before we can get anything in. So I use this method for planting so many different plants, and we had great success last year with the onions and the garlic and things like that. It was absolutely brilliant. So why sort of fix what isn't broken? So dead simple, dig a bit of a hole, get half a handful of the bloodfish and bone, bit of compost on the top there, just so you're not going to burn the bottom of what's going to go in the hole, because some of that bloodfish and bone stuff can be pretty strong. And as you can see by the roots on these are absolutely desperate to be going out. I'm just going to give them a little bit of a tickle there, just to break them up, being nice and gentle because I don't want to break them. So pop it in the hole, backfill it, in it goes. There we go. And all I'm going to do, measure roughly blade's length of the hori hori knife there apart in the row, and do exactly the same thing. Dig the hole, bit of blood, fish and bone, compost on the top, come back over here, another bit of garlic with an exceedingly long root, and again I'm just going to tickle them ever so slightly away, just so they're not all sort of bound up there. There's a wee bit of frozen ground there, let's just break that up. Again, that's gonna just go and sit in there, pop it in, cover it up, and the way I'm sort of planting these is going to be the same for all of them, whether it's the onions, whether it's the shallots, whether it's the garlic or whatever. In that, again, nice width apart, dig the hole out, blood, fish and bone in, bit of compost on the top there, bit of garlic with exceedingly long roots. Right, in it goes, backfill around and about it, and I'm just planting them so that they're sort of almost covered up to the top, so there's a sort of about a ½ centimetre of the bulb poking up with the green bit going to come up. So you don't want to bury the onions, the shallots and the garlic all the way down, and likewise you don't want them sort of sitting right on the top so they're going to wobble over. So plant them like that so they're just poking up, and obviously they're going out this time of year. The garlic and the shallots, you'll have obviously all seen them with the bulbs and the cloves. So you plant the clove turns into a bulb, but it needs the frost to make the bulbs split into cloves, otherwise you end up with just one big massive lump of garlic. And as funny as that might seem, it's perhaps not what you want. So what I'll do is I'll get all these planted out, I'll get the garlic out, I'll get some onions and things in down there, and I'll come back and I'll show you how they look and how we're going to finish the beds off, because there's a bit more nutrition I want to put in here just to keep them fed, just to keep them going over the winter and into the springtime there. So I'll be back with you in just a jiffy. Right, so that's all the garlic in, all the shallots and just down there, and over there some of the onions, not all of them, but I'll come to that in a few minutes when I'll show you what's up with that. So I mentioned I was going to put some more nutrition in here, and this is going to feed these all the way through the winter and into the spring and keep things going. So in here we've got this is compost, but you know, it was grown in last year, so there's probably not a lot of nutrition in it. So in each of the holes, whether for the garlic or the onions or shallots or whatever, and there's a good handful of blood, fish and bone gone in there. And in this sort of seed tray here, we've got some chicken manure pellets, and on top of that I'm going to put some of the 6X fertiliser. Now the top of this bag's been open, so it's a bit damp, and I've got to be honest, it pongs a bit. It's but it is 6 times the strength concentrated manure that's in here, so it's really good stuff. And normally I top most of the beds off with this, and it does a grand job. So I'm getting a good few trowelfuls in there, and then have a lead all the way over here. Some of this Q4 Vitax stuff that we just picked up at the garden centre, and again that's pelleted as well, so I'm going to sprinkle that in there. Right, we'll have a good old load of them in there as well. I'll give it a bit of a mix around. There it is. So we've got all that mixed in. So we've got the 6X manure, we've got the 6X chicken pellets, and we've got some of the Vitax Q4 pellets in there as well. And the good thing about this is that the 6X manure, when it rains, the nutrients and things and that are going to leach out with that pretty quickly. The same with the blood, fish and bone in the bottom of the holes, that was powdered, so that's straight down in the roots already, and the water's going to break that down straight away. But the Q4 and the chicken pellets are going to take a bit of time to break down when they get rained on. And all I'm going to do is sprinkle this up and down in between the rows of the garlic, and like I say, slowly but surely over the winter into the spring, loads and loads of nutrition in here, and it saves any faffing on during the winter, because obviously I'm not up here anywhere as near as much as I am during the summer. So by having all of this in here, I can just leave all of these to it. So all these beds of onions, all the garlic, all the shallots, they can all just happily grow away. And now that I've got that in there, I'll do exactly the same as this with the other beds. But what I'll do first is if I clean this off my gloves, bear with me, I'm just going to come and pick you up. 2 seconds. Sorry about the wobbly camera for a second. Right, let's turn you around. So if we come along here, there's some weeds that I've pulled out. So here's the shallots in here, looking absolutely fabulous in there. So like I say, we're going to put the nutrition in there exactly the same. And if we have a, let's have a wander down here, and we've got the onions down here. And again, rinse and repeat what we've done there. Still got some left, and the reason I've still got some left is because these two beds here, this one and this one, are still pretty frozen. You can see it's big chunks on the top, and it's taken ages to break it down. So what I'm going to do, just going to pop a bit of fleece on that one, a bit of fleece on this one, leave them over the weekend, and hopefully when we come back next week, good to get things planted in. So there we have it, folks. That's the onions, shallots, garlic, all out, going to grow all the way over the winter there. You know, it's not going to grow too quickly because it's not as much light and it's pretty cold, but hopefully come next year we'll be harvesting those crops about a good sort of 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks earlier than we did with the ones this year. That frees up the beds even earlier, so we can get more stuff in, and hopefully that second lot of crops that we put in next year get longer to grow and we get a better yield from it. That's the theory anyway, but we'll see how they get on. By all means, if you wouldn't mind, give the channel a subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave your comments below, let me know what you're up to this time of year. Always great to have a chat and see what other people are up to, and I'll keep you up to date with absolutely everything we're doing. I am going to head off now and get a cup of tea, because over the last sort of half an hour the temperature has really dropped here and it's absolutely freezing. The sun was out before, it's pretty much disappeared. Home, tea, maybe a wee biscuit or something nice like that. Anyway, that's me done for today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, folks.